I've made every wrong choice a 30-year-old man can make. And I've been forced to see this recently because of a dream that I had. It's fascinating to comb through your life and struggle to find a bad choice that I didn't make. I made a lot of money and I blew all of the money that I had, and I've talked about it. It was for a good reason. It was chasing a dream, but I did blow that money. I was a bad steward. I spent too much of my life drinking alcohol, smoking cannabis, too much of my life praying to God to have a family, but then being in relationships with the wrong women, chasing away the right women. There's really not a bad decision that I haven't made, other than maybe hard drugs. And it all led to being homeless, and then it all led to now staying with my family at 30 years old. And so why am I telling you this? Well, despite all of that, I actually don't have any regrets. That's what I mean when I say that I am where I'm supposed to be. You are where you're supposed to be. Despite all of the mistakes that I've made in my life, if I had the opportunity to go back in time and change anything, I literally wouldn't change one thing. Because I think my family is happy to have me around. Maybe they're not, but I think they are, and I hope they are. But if things wouldn't have turned out in this direction, another mistake that I made is neglecting to spend time with the most important people in my life. I left my hometown when I was 17 years old. That way I could go get student debt. Another mistake. And then when I left, I rarely ever came back. And I don't think I would have come back for a long period of time unless I was forced to, like I have been. And so, in a strange way, even that's been a blessing. But even the other mistakes, they've all been learning experiences. They've all taught me so much, and it's like mistakes, going down the wrong path, doing the wrong things, consuming the wrong things, being in the wrong relationships, praying to God, God rescue me, God rescues you, make the same mistake, fall again, taught me about mercy, taught me about grace, somehow brought me closer to God. Somehow the mistakes brought me closer to God. There's a verse in the Bible where Jesus is talking to Pharisees, and the Pharisees are condemning the sinful people. And he lambasts the Pharisees, and he says, if you knew what this meant, that I desire mercy, not sacrifice, then you wouldn't have condemned the innocent. And in the past, I've read that, and I honestly didn't understand it, and to the extent that I did understand it, I disagreed with it because I thought it was a weak thing. I thought sacrifice was the most important thing. How could mercy be so important? We're on this earth to grow and to make things happen and pursue greatness. How could mercy be important to sacrifice when sacrifice is what leads to greatness? But Jesus said, if you knew what this meant, that I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you wouldn't have condemned the innocent. And Jesus also said, blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are the poor in spirit. And I've been reflecting on that often because it doesn't, he's not saying blessed are the financially poor. He's not saying blessed are the poor people. He's saying blessed are the poor in spirit. Meaning blessed are the people who are downtrodden. Blessed are the people who it's not maybe accurate to say feel bad about themselves, but who are exhausted by this life, who are trying their best, but their best, they keep falling in the same bad patterns, and they just put their hands up to God and they become contrite. They repent, they become contrite. They realize that they are poor of spirit and they need help. They need help from God, they need help from other people. It's not blessed are poor people, it's blessed are those who recognize their need for help. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who recognize their need for God. They will see God. And all of the mistakes that I've made in my life have taught me about mercy in the sense of I'm truly a 30-year-old man, and I've been given so much. I've had a myriad of blessings that I was born with and that I've been given throughout the entirety of my life path. And yet, so many of them I squandered. So many of them I didn't make the most of. And it's forced me to see that if I have squandered these gifts, if I have sinned in terms of just completely missed the point in life, had my attention in the wrong place, did the wrong things, behaved in the wrong ways. If I would do that with all of my myriad of blessings, why would I expect other people to be any different? How would I be a rational being and not show mercy to other people in the same way that other people and God have shown mercy to me, given my plethora of mistakes that just don't stop? And when I go through and say that I made mistakes in drinking too much alcohol and smoking cannabis and being in the wrong relationships and chasing away the women that maybe I shouldn't have chased away, I'm not condemning any of that. The only reason I bring that up is because those were mistakes that I made. And I know that they are mistakes that I made because I was trying to go in one certain direction, but I would be pursuing those things and they so clearly weren't serving me, but I just wouldn't stop though. I wouldn't stop, and I would pray to God to help me move forward while I myself refusing to detach from things that weren't serving me. And so if any of those things serve you, great. My issue is that they just weren't serving me. And so I'm not condemning them. That's in my opinion, the problem with the modern age, with modernity, is that there's so much condemnation. So many people want to condemn other people and judge other people and place heavy burdens on other people, saying, do this, don't do that, rules, rules, rules. And yet many people are just in chaos, brokenhearted, the world has a boot on their neck, and then you've got people who are religious or spiritual or whatever they would refer to themselves as, and then they just go around condemning people for things that are mostly trivial. And we actually don't need more condemnation. We need grace. We need mercy. We need encouragement. That's why it's so profound that this idea, this realization that God takes bad things and makes them good, because it's not as though God takes bad things and makes them okay. He literally takes mistakes, bad things, and redeems them fully, brings them back to life, makes them good. The mistakes that I've made, somehow, although they weren't good, they weren't righteous, shouldn't have done them, they were then used to bring me closer to God. They were then used to show me mercy, force me to be a more compassionate, empathetic person. And such is the case with all of us. Such is the case with so many things in this world that are tragedies that seem desperate and hopeless and miserable and impossible to bear. Somehow, God takes those bad things and makes them good. Right? And so I'll also say that the other reflection that I've been trying to integrate lately is it is sacrilege to cast hatred upon yourself. I believe that to be true. If you are in the same way that it's not good to condemn other people and constantly wrong, condemn, you actually shouldn't do that to yourself either. It's sacrilege. You are God's creation. The people whom so many others are quick to condemn, they are children of God. They are God's creation. And then we, for whatever reason, cast condemnation and hatred upon them. But their life is already hard enough. They need encouragement. We need encouragement. We need reprieve. We need the burdens to be lighter. We don't need more condemnations. If you knew what this meant, that I desire mercy and not sacrifice, you wouldn't be constantly condemning God's creation. You wouldn't be casting hatred upon other people or yourself. So let me leave you with this. The dream that I had, this is crazy. I'm 30 years old, obviously. I had a dream that somebody made me write down my age. And on the page where I wrote down my age, it already said 35. And I kind of felt terrible. Within the dream, I rarely feel bad within dreams. I felt afraid. Because that's like my spirit. That's like a spiritual fear that I have, which is wasting my life. Time continuously passing by and not making the most of this gift. And I saw it in a dream. They kept telling me I was 35. And then they handed me strings, and it was weird because I knew the strings represented my life. And they were just skinny strings, handful of them. And then the strings started to grow in my hand, and they became snakes. I tossed them to the ground, and when I tossed these strings that became snakes to the ground, there was a house cat. It was just a pure white space. There was a house cat over there, and the house cat was eating the snake's head. And I don't know what that means. Do you? And for now, that's all that I have. Goodbye.